Okay, so I wanted to make this video where I talk to you guys about my feelings on this movie. And if you don't know what this is, I'm just gonna give you some brief context, and then I'm gonna go on to give you my feelings on not the whole movie. I'll just briefly summarize my thoughts on the whole movie. But the thing that I want to talk about the most is the ending. And if you've seen the movie, then you probably already know what this video is going to be about. But before I get to all of that, I feel like I gotta be honest with you guys about something. This is, I think, the third or fourth time I've tried to record this video. Each and every time I've tried, it just never felt right. I could just never properly streamline my thoughts because every time I think about this movie, I just get a little heated. I'm not gonna lie because, man, this this movie. Oh boy, do I have a lot to say. But like I said, I'm gonna try to keep it to the thing that I want to talk about the most, which is the ending. So before I get to that, like I said, let me just give you some context so you understand where I'm coming from. This movie, if you don't know what it is, TrollHunters Rise of the Titans is supposed to be a movie that concludes a story that started all the way back in 2016. So about 5 years now. And this story started with a show called TrollHunters before it got later renamed to Tales of Arcadia. And the show centered around the main character that you can see right there on your screen, the one in the blue sweater, whose name is Jim Lake Jr. And he is what is called in this universe as the Troll Hunter. That's what he is. And he is the main character of that show. Now, later on, there were other shows called Three Below and Wizards. And Three Below focused on these twin aliens and what's going on in their world. And then Wizards focused on, well, as the name suggests, wizards. And I enjoyed those shows, even though I was a little bit disappointed, mostly because Three Below was only 2 seasons and Wizards was only one. I don't know if there's some behind the scenes reasons as to why that's the case, but whatever. I kind of enjoyed them. Wizards I enjoyed for the most part, but in a lot of ways it did kind of also disappoint me because they kind of rushed through some stories. Again, I don't know if maybe they would have done better if they had more seasons so they can properly flesh out the story, because to me it felt like they had more stories to tell, but they couldn't because they were only given 1 season. I don't know, I'm just guessing. So this movie was stated to be a conclusion to that story that started with the first show, Troll Hunters. And the movie, you could say, centers around the main character of the first show, which is Jim. Now, again, I'm gonna not go over the whole movie. Maybe I'll make a separate video where I give you just my thoughts on the whole movie in and of itself. But for now, I just want to talk about the ending and why I really, really did not like what they did here. So, in this movie, all throughout the movie, we see characters that we've gotten to know basically die. And of course, when the movie ends, you would think, okay, yeah, they suffered some losses, but ultimately they came out the victors. And you would think that maybe the epilogue would focus on them sort of picking themselves back up and trying to move on with their lives despite the losses that they've suffered. That's not what ends up happening. Instead, they did something that I hate, and I mean genuinely hate, whenever stories do this. They incorporated time travel. Now, to me, time travel is a writing crutch. That's what I see it as. I see it as a writing crutch because I feel like writers introduce time travel into their stories because if something happens that they don't like, or they end up finding out they don't like later and they realize their audience doesn't like, they could just use time travel to go back and just undo it. And to me, it just feels weak, okay? It just feels like the writer just couldn't stay with what they did and they just decided to go back and undo it. Same thing with multiverses and everything, and that's going to be kind of relevant later on. You'll get what I mean. So at the time when it happened, I thought that the worst that they were going to do is go back to the beginning of the movie, and they stated that the only one who's going to remember everything that happened is the main character, Jim. So I thought what they were going to do is they were going to go back into the beginning of the movie, and now that Jim knows what's going to happen, he can let everyone know so they can stop everything from happening, and they can stop everyone who died from dying again. That's what I thought they were going to do. And if that happened, it still would have been bad, but it wouldn't have been as bad as what they actually did. So what they ended up doing is they went back all the way to the beginning. And I literally mean the beginning. They went back to the first 5 minutes of the first season of the first show. Yes, they went all the way back to that beginning. Back to the pilot of the first show, TrollHunters. Well, not the pilot, the first episode of the TrollHunters show. And to me, this felt like, hey, you know, everything that you went through, all the shows that you watched, everything that you experienced along with these characters, yeah, guess what? None of it means anything. None of it means anything. It was all meaningless. Everything Jim went through was meaningless. Everything his mom went through was meaningless. Everything that happened with him and his girlfriend was meaningless. Everything that happened with him and his best friend's relationship with his, what he likes to call his wingman, all of it is meaningless. You took all of that away. And I was watching this and I thought, wait, what, you did this? Out of everything you could have done, again, I could have sort of forgiven them for, going back to the beginning of the movie, even though I still would have hated it. I still could have kind of forgiven them, but this I can't forgive. I can't forgive this. You basically told me that everything that I experienced in this story that started all the way back in 2016 for 5 years means nothing. And also, there's some things that happen that make no goddamn sense. So what ends up happening is Jim, now that he knows everything that's going to happen, well, technically not everything, because there's some things that happened in the story that Jim was not there, so he wouldn't be able to change those even if he wanted to. Like, for example, everything that happened in Three Below, for the most part, he wasn't there, so he doesn't know it even happened. So how could he change that? Like, did no one think of this? Anyway, he decides to basically let his best friend pick up the amulet, which is what gives him his power and makes him the troll hunter. Well, sort of. It gives him the power, but they establish that that's not what makes him the troll hunter. See, throughout the series, mostly in the first show that he was in, they established multiple times that Jim is the hero. Okay, and there was even an episode in season 2 that was specifically dedicated to this, where the amulet showed him what it was like if he never picked up the amulet and became the troll hunter, and it showed him that bad things happen, and it ended up helping Jim realize that he is the hero, he is the right person for the job. The amulet did not make a mistake picking him. But now with his best friend picking up the amulet, they made it seem like it didn't matter if Jim picked it up. It could have been anyone. Whoever picked it up, they would have been the troll hunter. Even though that's not in line with what you said. So other than just being a giant fuck you to everyone who started watching this all the way back into the beginning, it literally makes no goddamn sense. And also, it is just blatant character assassination. Jim would never just sit back and let someone else pick up the responsibility. He would never do that. Okay, this is a guy who at the ending of the first season was willing to jump into a dimension that is filled with enemies waiting to kill him, all because he wanted to take on the responsibility alone, because he doesn't want anyone else to get involved and get hurt. That's who he is. And now ultimately he does end up learning that he can't do everything by himself, and he ends up letting his friends help, but ultimately the responsibility is on his shoulders. He is the hero. He is the troll hunter. And also, there are some things that happen that just make no goddamn sense. And again, I'm not going to get into them because it would require going into more detail. Then I'm trying to keep this video to be not too long. It's already over 10 minutes long. And I'm sitting here and I'm wondering, like, why the hell did they do this? Okay, out of everything you could have done, literally everything you could have done, this is what you decided to do. And I don't know what they were thinking. Okay, not only does it basically eliminate everything that happened, or not eliminate, it renders everything that happened meaningless, and also it blatantly assassinates Jim's character. Because like I said, he would never do this. He would never just sit by and let someone else take the responsibility. It doesn't matter what the reason is, whether he's trying to do, whether he thinks it's the best to prevent what's happening. It doesn't matter. He would never let anyone take that responsibility, because he accepted that he is the troll hunter. That's his responsibility. And when it comes to the whole multiverse thing that I mentioned earlier, so I've seen some people theorize, because I wanted to see if I was the only one who thought this. So I decided to look online to see if there were other people who felt the same. And sure enough, other people were just as, basically saw this the same way I did. They saw it as a blatant fuck you to the fans, basically. And I saw someone theorize that maybe this means that there's like a multiverse or something, that the timeline that Jim came from still exists. But if that's the case, then, but that timeline wouldn't have Jim anymore, because that Jim is now in another timeline. And if that's the case, then how would that if that's the case, then he basically left that universe without a Jim. He left his girlfriend alone. He left his father figure Blinky alone. His mom just saw her fiance die, and now she has to accept that her son is gone. Like, why would he do that to her? And I don't know what the hell they were thinking with this. It's like they couldn't accept that, you know, they made some pretty ballsy decisions by killing off a bunch of characters, and they just thought that fans were probably going to be pissed, even though that wasn't, I don't think that would have been the case, because this is the ending. I think people would have been okay with you killing off certain characters if this was the end. I don't think we would have minded that. I certainly wouldn't. I don't know. I mean, you know what? I want to throw the question to you guys. Do you feel the same? Am I alone in this? I mean, did you even watch the movie? Did you even care? I don't know how this video is going to perform. Again, I don't think there's, I don't know if anyone in my audience actually cares about this or whatsoever, but I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, that's the videos. Thanks for just letting me vent. And if you saw the movie, what did you think? Did you even watch the rest of the shows? If you did, let me know what you guys think. And how did you think about the ending and all of that stuff? And of course, remember to leave a like, share the video. You know what to do with YouTube. And bye for now.